Imagine that the history we study is incomplete, not because we haven't discovered it yet, but because some events truly happened, were recorded and witnessed, yet no one has been able to explain them to this day.
You're watching The Unbelievable World.
3 real historical mysteries that still puzzle the world today. We are not talking about myths, not science fiction, and not internet stories. We are talking about documented incidents written in official records, investigated by scientists, armies, and journalists. Things that actually happened but don't fit any logic we understand. Today, we will explore 3 real historical mysteries, each one capable of changing how you see history and perhaps reality itself. The disappearance of the Flannan Isles lighthouse keepers, Scotland, 1900. In December 1900, a small supply ship approached a group of isolated rocky islands in the North Atlantic. Their name, the Flannan Isles. A brutal place, waves as tall as buildings, winds strong enough to throw a man off the rocks. At the highest point of the island stood a massive stone lighthouse whose mission was to save ships from death. 3 keepers worked there: James Ducat, Thomas Marshall, Donald MacArthur, men who had spent their entire lives at sea. When the supply ship approached, the crew noticed something unusual. No one was waiting for them. That alone made no sense, because the keepers considered the ship's arrival the most important event of their week. They sounded the greeting horn. No response. They fired an emergency signal. No response. Finally, a sailor climbed the long stone staircase and reached the lighthouse door. The door was closed, but not tightly shut. He opened it.
Inside the lighthouse, everything was in order. Beds neatly made, the clock stopped, meals half-eaten, and no one there. No blood, no struggle, no signs of resistance. But there was one strange detail: a chair overturned, and one storm coat missing, while the other 2 remained in place, which was impossible. Lighthouse rules were clear. No keeper leaves alone during a storm. The most disturbing part was the logbook. The last entries written days before they vanished. Day 1. Severe winds I have never seen in 20 years. Day 2. Thomas is quiet. Ducat is uneasy. MacArthur is crying. MacArthur was known as a tough sailor who feared nothing. Day 3. The storm continues. We are praying. Then, the final sentence. The storm has ended. God is over all. After that, nothing.
The official investigation concluded. Perhaps they went out to secure equipment and were swept away by a massive wave. But there was a problem. No storm was recorded that day. No waves reached the height of the lighthouse. No bodies, no debris. Not even their heavy oilskin hats floated ashore. They vanished completely from an island that cannot be left
except by jumping into a deadly ocean. For over 120 years, many explanations have appeared. A rogue wave? It would have destroyed the lighthouse. Murder among them? Where are the bodies? Piracy? Nothing was stolen. Abduction? How without resistance? Or did they see something in the sea that made three men accustomed to storms walk out together at the same moment toward death? To this day, the lighthouse still stands, and sailors still tell strange stories about the island at night. But the only certain truth, 3 men entered the lighthouse, and they never came out. Not because they died, but because they disappeared.
The Dyatlov Pass Incident, Russia, 1959. In the winter of 1959, 9 Russian university students set out on a hiking expedition in the Ural Mountains. They were professionals, highly experienced, and equipped with the best gear available at the time. The trip was supposed to be routine training, but they never returned. Weeks later, a rescue team found their campsite, and what followed became one of the strangest investigations of the 20th century. The tent was torn open from the inside, meaning the people inside didn't exit normally, they fled. Footprints were visible in the snow. The strange part, they were barefoot. The temperature was below -30 degrees Celsius, and yet they left their shoes and heavy clothing and ran into the darkness. Then the bodies began to appear. The first bodies, they died from hypothermia, but the other 3 did not die from the cold. One had a crushed skull, as if hit by a high-speed car. Another had ribs shattered with the force of a car crash. But there were no external bruises, as if the force came from inside. And even stranger, one body was missing its tongue. It was never found. Then came the most disturbing discovery. Their clothes were radioactive. Not lethal radiation, but clearly above normal levels. The Soviet investigation closed the case with only one statement. An unknown natural force compelled the hikers to flee. To this day, there is no agreed scientific explanation. Many theories appeared. An avalanche doesn't explain the injuries. Military attack? No evidence. Infrasound terror waves? Possible, but not the radiation. Only one thing is certain. Those 9 hikers ran from something more terrifying than freezing to death, and no one knows what it was. The Frozen Soldiers of Lake Ropaconi, Italy, 1945. In the final days of World War II, Europe was in total chaos. Armies moving, cities collapsing, orders changing every hour. In northern Italy, near the Alps, a small German unit of about 20 soldiers was sent to transport military equipment to another location. The winter was harsh, but not deadly. The temperature was low, yet thousands of soldiers moved in the same conditions without issue. This unit never arrived. Days after the war ended, local residents began noticing something strange near a small, isolated lake called Lake Ropaconi. At the edge of the lake, the soldiers stood, not lying dead on the ground, but standing in full gear, rifles in their hands. Some staring forward as if they had just seen something. They were completely frozen, but not a normal freezing. Military doctors who examined the bodies wrote something puzzling in the report. None of them died from hypothermia. No drowning, no injuries, no poison, no gunfire. Their hearts stopped suddenly at nearly the same moment.
And stranger still, the snow around them showed no signs of struggle, no attempt to escape, not even signs of collapse, as if time paused for seconds and then resumed, after everyone was already dead. The investigation was quickly closed because the war had ended and there were no resources to continue. But the medical report remained preserved. To this day, there is no convincing explanation. Gas? It wouldn't kill everyone at the same instant without suffocation. Lightning? It wouldn't leave bodies intact and standing. A shockwave? It would have knocked them to the ground. One thing only the doctor confirmed. What happened was not gradual death, but an instantaneous stop of life, as if something passed through them and switched them off.
3 events, each documented and occurring in the modern era, not the age of myths. In Russia, 9 hikers encountered something unknown. In Scotland, 3 lighthouse keepers vanished inside a lighthouse without any explanation. And in Italy, frozen soldiers stood upright, their hearts stopped suddenly for no reason.
Science advances every day, but not everything is understood yet. Maybe one day we will discover the truth. Or maybe some mysteries are not meant to be easily understood. The question is not only what happened. The real question, are we truly ready to know the answer?
Subscribe if you care.